Hi everybody, how are you being? I'll try to untangle this so that I can move. Okay. How are you feeling so far at this beautiful gathering? First of all, I want to thank everyone and bow to you for having created this beautiful gathering. We, the speakers, are just the instruments that are instrumenting bringing the energies that you requested. So it's basically you that have created this gathering, and we're very grateful. For so many years, I've been witnessing this type of gatherings. I've been joining many pranic gatherings along the years. Since 2010 to 2009, since the first time I've heard about this possibility of being nourished by prana, I've been in many gatherings around the world of people who are interested in this. So my pranic journey started way back when I was 14, but I consciously started learning about it when I was 28, so 8 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that. And since then, having participated to so many groups, I'm so happy to see how this unfolds. As people are becoming more and more conscious of this and believing more and more in this possibility. And this shows us that us as humanity, we are evolving now so fast. And before I go any further, I would like to know what you want to know about. You know, why are you here? How many of you are interested in pranic nourishment? Hands up. And how many of you are here just because it's an interesting gathering and you're curious about what's new on this planet? And how many of you have had a pranic experience before or trust that this is possible? I'm so happy you're not so many, because the rest of you have this opportunity to learn and open. This is the third year that I'm participating to a pranic festival as a speaker. And what I've seen with the pranic festivals, the pranic gatherings in general, but the pranic festivals in particular, I'm going to share a little bit about the energy dynamics of what we do here. So when we gather like this and we have requested that the family gets back together again, because we are family, something very beautiful is happening along the planet. Each one of us, when we meditate together, sends a ray up from the heart, through the crown, up into the universe. Just try to envision that. And once we send these rays together, something very beautiful happens just right above us. we open, we gather our rays above us, and we build like a mandala, like a portal that draws back to us the most beautiful, the purest energies that are the most beneficial for us from the universe. So that's opening pranic portals. And what I also see is that the pranic portals that we open above these gatherings are starting to connect with each other. So for example, last year we had a pranic festival here. We opened the pranic door with our wishes from the heart. Then I went to Belgium to the pranic festival there. And another gate, pranic portal, opened there. Then another festival was in Romania in August. And another portal opened there. And what they do, these portals, is just they connect with each other. And they build a frequency along the planet, around the planet, that is then feeding back into us, into our energy field. The right energies for us to experience more of this pranic possibility. So by being here, we not only nourish ourselves from this pranic field, but we also nourish the whole planet, and we create the premises for more people to be able to tune into this reality and be supported by it. So what I'm really thanking you for is that we're all light workers contributing to this. And how many of you know about the energy grid along the planet, or the Christed grid, as some call it? This is like a coat of energy, like a matrix of energy that is built around planet Earth, that is holding together and supporting the field of love, light, and purity of the people of this planet. And this grid is nourished by our intention and opening. So imagine the pranic portals as little light dots in this grid, that are becoming stronger and stronger with each gathering, with each meditation, with each prayer, with each intention. So like little light bulbs, shining out around the planet from our emanation up. And what I also see, because part of my work is working with energy portals and energetic places along the planet, what I also see is that each festival is held in a particular energetic place, so where the planet is more open to this. So here we have a very nourishing place, very beautiful, outstanding energy vortex. In Belgium also, it was a beautiful field of energy in that nature area that was open to the higher realms. And of course, in Romania, where we're holding the festival each year in August, it's also the most powerful place in Romania, energy-wise, the crown chakra of Romania. And all these places are connecting to each other all along the planet. If all of you could witness this, but I'll hold an exercise just a few minutes later to show you this, because it's important that we all see it. And why I'm sharing this is just for all of us to be conscious of what we're participating in. So it's not only about our curiosity or just being in a gathering, but it's a much, much deeper work that we're doing together. I'm just pausing after each phrase so that they can translate, in case you were wondering. So how would you like to experience that? Because before we go any further, how would you like to have a brief meditation and witness this with your own energy field? Hands up if you want to experience that. We have a majority. So before I present any more of myself and the work we are doing, I just suggest let's do some soul sharing and see what I just talked about. So what I invite you to do is just to center in your hearts and just start breathing in and out. You can keep your eyes open, your eyes closed, however you're comfortable. Closed eyes help us keep our focus within and observe more of the inner planes. And what we invite you to do is just imagine that your breath is going up and down through your spinal cord like an elevator. So when you breathe in, you let that elevator go up from the base of the spine to the top of your head. And when you breathe out, you imagine or visualize the elevator going down from the top of your head to the base of your spine. And just practice with this for a while. Just see what it does to your energy field. And we imagine that we have a light column or a light cylinder around us from the center of the universe to the center of the earth. And each one of us is in this light column, in this light cylinder. Breathing in and out the light, the color from this cylinder. Just focus on these two things for a while. Centering all the energy on your spinal cord and heart. And allowing the most appropriate energy, the most appropriate color to come inside you with your breath. And as you breathe out all the tensions, the thoughts, the energies that no longer serve you, and allow them to be absorbed and transmuted in this light column. We know that this light column around us is pre-programmed to dissolve, transmute, transform everything that no longer serves us. And also bring in the most appropriate energies, supportive energies for each one of us. We focus in the heart and imagine that we have a light sphere there that is getting brighter and brighter with every breath. So each breath in is fueling this light sphere. That is shining brighter each time you breathe in. You can also imagine that you have a light cable connecting you to the heart of the universe. And that with every breath, you draw in through the top of your head energy, nourishment into your heart. Fueling you breakfast, lunch and dinner with every breath. And allow your heart to expand, being nourished by this energy. With every breath in, your light sphere in the heart gets brighter. You can also imagine a crystal there that is getting fueled by this energy. And with every breath out, you let this energy from the heart go into your cells, into the internal organs, all your physical systems, circulatory, muscular, endocrine, everything, into your whole body, then going out into the auric field, and out into the universe, this emanation of your heart. Just relax and allow and let the thoughts dissolve like clouds above your head. And allow this energy nourishment from the universal force to fuel your heart and your cells with every breath. Then your energy field, and then the universe around you. getting everything repatterned by your love emanation. Just have no fear. This will heal your heart. You are free to open. And you allow this energy to then flow down into your lower chakras as well. Allow it to go towards the perineum and then down towards the knees and the soles of the feet, filling your whole body with this emanation of love from your heart. Then allowing it to flow down towards the center of the earth, building like roots or energy cords towards the center of the earth. You feel with these energy cords that you're going towards the heart of Gaia. Connecting with the heart of the mother that is holding us and supporting our physical presence here. Feel how it feels to feel the heart of this planet. Just centered into it and feel the energy there. Or just imagine how it feels to be hugged by the most loving mother. The being that cherishes you the most and supports all your actions, regardless of their integrity. We allow this energy from the center of the earth to go up through these energetic roots towards the soles of our feet, and then up through the soles of the feet into the ankles and the calves and the knees and the thighs. We let it go up into the perineum, gathering then at the base of the spine. And then we let it flow up the spine towards the heart chakra, then up towards the base of the skull, and up towards the top of the head, filling your whole body with this energy of Gaia, fueling you with mother love energy, the supporting frequency that is holding together your elements of the body. As your body is made of the same frequencies as this big mother holding us all. Once your body is fueled and filled You allow this energy to flow up and spring out like a fountain, like a torus around your body. Forming an energy field that filters out everything that no longer serves you, holding you each day in this loving embrace of the perfect elements balance. And of the perfect feeling of feeling accepted here on earth. And with our attention focused back in your heart, we notice how each one of us has this connection cable that goes up towards the center of the universe. And along the way, as it's sending up our wishes, it meets and builds an energy grid above this gathering. Each one of us adding to it the purest frequency of love and nourishment from his own heart. What is your purest heart intention for this planet and for this gathering? What is the purest heart intention for yourself now? You just notice yourself as you shoot it up towards the top of your head and then up into this mandala. That we're all building together. And that is supporting us all in fulfilling this. And see this mandala lightening up with each emanation of each one of us. And notice it as it is connected with other grid points along the planet. The places where we've gathered before. The other pranic festivals or pranic gatherings that we've had. Not only now, but way back, maybe in Lemuria. They're all still lit up. You see them lightening up and supporting this frequency around the planet. The Prani Festival in Belgium. The Prani Festival in Romania. The new ones still to come. Maybe Glastonbury, Hawaii or Norway. And still others to be revealed. Just see how they all support back the people who open up to this reality, nourishing their energy field. helping them to open up to this possibility and be nourished in it. And as you've witnessed this all coming back into your heart and back into this gathering with your attention to the physical plane, we can start having a stretch or coming back into the room or just staying in this state as long as we want. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How many of you have seen what we were talking about? Does anybody want to share a little bit about what he noticed? Anyway, we'll prepare a mic for later because we'll have some questions towards the end. So, getting back to more actual stuff, we have noticed that some of you are new to this, and probably some of you are wondering, how is this possible that a physical body is nourished without physical food, yes? After years of studying this, when I first heard of it, actually, I was convinced this is possible. When I was 14, as some disharmony was happening in my family, I started eating very, very little. Like half an apple a day or something like that. And this happened for quite a while. I don't know, I never measured how long. I was not interested in pranic nourishment back then. But truth is, I felt powerful and I was able to go to school, study, have high grades, do sports. So my body was functioning on that type of nourishment. After things got recalibrated in my family, I went back to normal food again. I had lost a little weight during that time, but I was able to function. I was no weak, no dysfunctional in any way. So I guess back then pranic nourishment was kicking in. Then when I was 17, many years ago, I got to vegetarian diet because I felt it was not natural to eat some animals that have died. So for some years I've been a vegetarian, maybe until I was 20 or so. Then since I was 19 or 20, I started working and doing university studies in parallel full time. And I forgot all about vegetarian nourishment, meditation. I was meditating in a crystal every evening. I forgot all about that. So I started what we call a normal life. Management years, trying to get ahead in my career, trying to hold a family as well. Stuff like that. The things they teach us are normal to do in a life. But nobody had taught me that the normalest thing to do is be in contact with and take care of my energy body. So when I was 27, as I was working many hours a day, I started getting really unbalanced. Like basically falling off my feet without a notice. And it was then that I decided that I had to look for alternatives. Because honestly, normal medicine could do anything for me. So that's when I started meditating again and going back to vegetarian diet and lightening up my diet as I was meditating more and more and practicing more yoga and qigong. Because as I was getting back to this lifestyle of holistic intelligence, my body naturally was rejecting certain foods that were not beneficial for my body. So you could call it a natural organic growth into pranic nourishment. And at some point in 2012, I started a purification process where I would just have 4 cereals, water and salt for 10 days minimum. So it's a very strong purification diet called Oshava. And normally you have to only do this for 10 days. But I was doing it each month, and in between the Oshava diets, I was not having that much food, and I was also having these 4 cereals. My body would reject anything else. And this is what helped me detox in a very powerful way, and preparing me for 2013. When I went, I didn't know that I was preparing for something, but in 2013, I went through a very powerful training called Darkroom Retreat. So it's a pranic process after all. It's 10 days in darkness, no light, no food, and no technology. You could call that also fasting. So fasting technology is also important. And during these 10 days, I had the outstanding opportunity of experiencing my multiversal nature, the extended part of my being. I was aware that we're all energy. I was aware of my energy body before because I was doing meditation. But in darkroom, I became aware that the energy body that we know here, you know, the 7 chakras and the body layers, the energy body layers that we know as our human appearance, are just a small, tiny part of our being. As somebody was sharing yesterday, as we go higher and higher, we can see much more of our multiversal aspect. So I became aware that while some part of me is speaking with people here on this planet, Some other aspects of mine are doing other jobs in other realities. A part of me is a golden light body supervising some planets from a spaceship. A part of me is spinning some galaxies. And a part of me is dwelling in the central sun, pulsating from there. And this is nothing special. We're all like this. Each one of you is doing multiple roles in multiple layers of this reality. Not to mention the parallel lifetimes that we're doing here. But way, way beyond, we're doing much, much more jobs that we can, imagine. So since I noticed that, you can imagine that I was not so much confined to the reality of having food as nourishment. I know that our body is made of elements and that we need to synchronize the elements of the physical body with the natural elements around us. And that's actually the most important part of pranic nourishment, this synchronization. Most of the people do it through food. But there is the possibility of synchronizing without using food as well. And having researched this, because I wanted to know, okay, I didn't know exactly how I do it, but I wanted to know how all the others are doing it. So I started this research. Back then, I would just know Jasmuhi, and she was always my friend and teacher. But she was just one layer of this reality. So I wanted to know, well, if there are others, what are they doing? How are they functioning? So I started interviewing all the pranic people that I met. And asking them, grounded questions like, what were your issues? What were your pains? What happened in your body? What happened with your family? All this stuff. All the stuff that we want to know about when we start a pranic journey, because most of the people have fears that if they start, maybe their body will disintegrate or have pains. Or maybe the family will leave them because they're too weird. Or maybe the society will turn away from them because they are too far out there. How many of you feel like that? Nobody has this fear? Everybody's okay with quitting eating today? Yeah? You can all do this instantly? Yeah? Oh, congratulations. Then it was just me, okay? I know you all feel some of this. But anyway, for the ones who feel this, I made these questions and did these interviews just to figure out how the pranic people that were nourished for 18 years or 20 years by prana have succeeded at this. And what I've noticed is that there's no clear recipe. Everyone has had his own path. But there are, though, some steps that each one of us can do that can take us to lighter and lighter nourishment and more balance. So there are some activities, some practices, some daily actions that we all can take that will help our body be nourished in a different way, with more energy and less food. Yeah. Would you like to know which are these steps? Hmm. I believe this is important because people. What I've also noticed is that people go to a certain initiation or process. Okay. For example, I went to darkroom. I spent 10 days there without food. It has been easy for me. I went back home and for a month I couldn't eat at all. I did try once because all my friends were busting my head. But when I tried, it was not so good. So for 1 month I was holding that frequency naturally. Also because I had 8 to 10 hours of meditation and practices a day, with yoga and qigong and meditation and stuff like that. But after 1 month, I eventually started reintroducing vegan food back to my body again. So that pranic frequency was slowly diminishing. You know, also because I live in a very busy city, I was in a busy building that time. I was an event manager, so I was doing events with 300 people eating heavy meals. That was my job. So holding the pranic frequency of not eating at all in that environment was challenging for me at that time in 2013. But still, some of it stayed. I ate very little, and some of this frequency stayed with me and continued to grow. So I instantly started asking this question, well, if I did it, and if I have this blueprint, also there are other lifetimes where I had this practice, how could I maintain it? Not because I'm interested. I want to share a secret with you. I'm not interested in not eating. Actually, this is not my focus. After having manifested this and after having fun with it for so many years, I know it's possible. I know it's possible for me and every one of us. But I also know it was never my focus. Ever since I became vegetarian, then vegan, then went to darkroom and all that, my focus was always of how can I be the best version of myself? How can I let more of the divine self that is guiding this body manifest in this body? That is still my focus at this moment. So if that involves quitting food for the whole lifetime, or if that involves not eating for a week and then having dinner with friends, I don't care. All I care about, je m'en fiche. I love this expression. All I care about is how can I be the best version of myself in this highest state of consciousness for the ones around me. Because I know I have incarnated here to bring something and to share my gifts for this planet. And being the highest version of myself might not involve quitting food forever. It might involve being that connected and that aware to know exactly what to do and when to do it in every moment. And that involves eating or not eating. So being that intuitive to know exactly what your body needs, how your spirit needs to manifest, and how you can connect best to the ones around you. Because that's why you're here. When I tried to withdraw, so after 2013, the darkroom and everything in my life changed. I quit my event organizing activity. I quit my house, my city. I left everything behind. And I went to a city where the spiritual activity was a little more intense, a little more developed. Where I felt I could start to hold conferences and do healing sessions. Which is my present job now. I do such sessions of healing that are called soul healing, or healing from the soul, from the divine self. And I started having conferences and writing books and doing videos on all the activity that some of you have seen already on YouTube and internet. And at the beginning it was very difficult. I was not knowing this reality and how it functions. And I was not knowing much of the pranic nourishment either. You know, I had the books, I had the trainings. But as each one of us is unique, my unique blueprint was doing things that were weird to me. So since then, sometimes I wouldn't eat for a month or so. And then I got back to vegan food for a while. And then again, I would not eat and drink for a while. And then again, Spirit would ask me to just take some chocolate or some soup with someone. And then again, nothing going down through here, because this is my filter, the throat chakra. And then again, just go out and have some vegan pizza with your family. Just feel good with them. So it was a constant journey of ascending, descending, ascending, descending. And when I started to get a little bit, in discomfort with this, and my mind started rambling about it, I was told that no, you have to go out there, get the information, gather energy, and then ground it here. And this is your job. And I said, oh, okay. If that's the job, that I'm okay with doing it. Well, also, my diet got lighter and lighter, and at the moment I'm only comfortable, really comfortable with liquids. That involves water during the day and some juice or soup during the evening. And only when I'm in big gatherings or am I called directly to take something in particular, like yesterday I was called to ask somebody for an apple. only when I'm called to do that, I ask again, and then I do it. And I always ask before taking food, because if I don't ask, if I don't pay attention, my body has a really big discomfort. But if I ask and receive a yes, then I have no discomfort and my body does not feel that food in my body. It's just like going through a tunnel or something. It's like the matter goes in and it's instantly transmuted into something that is not heavy for me. So this is one layer of the pranic reality, the thing that I'm experiencing. But there are other layers, and you'll see here, of people that have not taken physical food for 18 years maybe. And they cannot take physical food. It does damage to their bodies. And others who have taken non-physical food for a while and then got back to light soups or light juices. And even scientists like Nassim Harameem or others who have had 3 years of pranic nourishment and levitation and then started eating normal again. But they're still able to hold that high state of consciousness regardless of what they eat. So the conclusion is eventually that this journey is not about eating or not eating. And I'll say this every year, because every year it is confirmed to me. This pranic journey is not about eating or not eating. It's about how much prana can you handle and channel through your body. And how much of your divine consciousness can you consciously hold and manifest here. Yeah? And if that involves for us quitting food for good, then so be it. But if for some of us this involves going back, not back and forth, but being so aware and so divinely connected to know exactly what to do and when to do it, so be it. And I'll give, for this, I'll bring forth the example of Anandamai Ma. Do you know Anandamai? Have you heard of her? Yes? Some of you did, some of you didn't. Anandamai is a saint, a Hindu saint. She was the friend of Paramahansa Yogananda. You know, the one who has written the autobiography of a yogi. And what she did is she was very, very, very immersed in union with the divine essence. To the point where her body was no longer hers. No longer guided by her personality self. So her personality was basically cancelled by something bigger, higher, that was guiding that body. And as a result, she conducted a big spiritual movement, shifting the life and healing the life of thousands of people just by her presence. You can look her up. She's an amazing spirit, still guiding some of us. But what her case was with nourishment, that's where I'm getting at, was that she sometimes would not take physical food for months. Actually, if her staff wouldn't feed her or clothe her, she would even forget about that. That's how immersed she was in meditation. And when they tried to feed her, she would not take that food. She would spit it out. But eventually, and that lasted for months. And eventually, when she had to do like a group healing or something, some spiritual work of some kind that was guided to her by spirit, and she knew exactly, she would ask for food, but she would eat such large quantities that a natural human body would not be able to take. So buckets of food. And she was tiny, just like me. She was not a fat woman with a large stomach. So that proves the ability of the body to transmute food. She was not taking that food for herself. That's what I mean. The food would go in and then go out to the crowds that she was feeding with her energy. You know how some energy masters have this training of sending out energies for people of groups. So you see, this is also a possibility of taking food but not for you and transmuting it. You know, just channeling that energy towards someone else. Why I'm sharing this information with you is that I want to help people be aware that there are so many possibilities. And there's not one pranic reality. You know, that some people are so strict in breatharianism, saying that breatharianism should only mean not eating and not drinking ever for a lifetime. And if you're not that, you're not a breatharian. But what I invite you to research is that it's just a box. There's just a strict layer that is not standing, because most of us are about flexibility and about fluidity and about letting things be in the best version that they need to be. And I've seen myself doing this, and I've seen all the others doing this. And if you want more information about how the others did it, you know, apart from the festival, you can look up on the internet Pranic Consciousness Summit, and you'll find a platform with all the interviews that I did with the pranic people that I've met. So it's another way of keeping yourselves informed on this reality, and also see the intimate conversation and gatherings that I've had with these masters. Because once we tune into that reality, and this reality here where everyone is sharing their own perspective, we see that nothing is strict, nothing is, you know, predetermined, nothing is to be put in a box, and everything is about freedom. Also, very important, if you're interested in eating less or eating no food, is detoxing your bodies. So detoxing the body means starting with the physical body and getting rid of parasites, getting rid of toxins, getting rid of all the heavy stuff, metals and everything that is requesting for you to have heavy food. So for the people who still have heavy food and feel that the body needs it, is not the body that needs it, but the heavy energies in the body that need that. So once you detox and get rid of the heavy stuff, you can go to the lighter stuff. And that feels good. Then another important layer is the emotional detox. Most of the people don't eat for physical necessity. Most of the large quantities of food that are intaked on this planet are for emotional reasons. So once you detox your emotional body and get rid of the traumas, the fears, the bad memories, not only the ones in this lifetime, but the ones in the cellular memory as well. Once you do that, you'll notice that your body will naturally request for lighter food or no food. One of my jobs with the soul healing therapy is of clearing that stuff. So we work not only on this lifetime, but also parallel lifetimes of memories that are in the cellular memory, that are holding us in a certain reality, blocking us from experiencing more of our divine or light body self. And the way we can easily do it is connecting with your soul and ask questions for there and receive answers from there. And see how easy it is to just declutter a pattern that you've had for years or maybe hundreds of years. Just by asking the right questions and finding the pattern that has held you there. Do you believe this is possible? Just in an instant to get rid of baggages of memories that are holding you back from expressing the best version of yourself. It's very easy, very available now, especially with the new energies flowing on the planet. And also the mental body. The mental body detox is very important. We have so many programs that are not necessary nor true, that are making people function in realities that are no longer useful for them. As my friend yesterday was sharing, the lady that was in the Himalayas, we're holding paradigms as long as they are useful, but sometimes we're holding them much longer than they serve us. So to be free from that, we have to let them go. And one of them is the paradigm that it's only physical food that is nourishing us. Once we are aware that we have other types of nourishment that are available for us every day, every second actually, every moment. And once we understand that, but also feel that, we then can be free from that belief. It can free ourselves also from the belief that we're dying without food. That is the biggest fear that is keeping some from being pranic. So to help people with that, I've gathered my research in a book that has somehow summed up the experiences that I've had with the pranic people and the people that are searching on this path. Because I've not only talked with tens of pranic people, but also people that are starting this journey, have had a process or two. How many of you have had a pranic process? Okay, so people who have had a process and maybe went back to physical food after that, you know that there's so much guilt, so much frustration sometimes, so much feeling not right because you haven't made it. You felt that maybe, but that's not true. That's also a belief. Because the reality is you can't go, most of us can't instantly shift to pranic nourishment just after a process. Most of us have to hold, to support that process, that after period, with certain activities, with certain steps of a holistic practice that will keep and strengthen the pranic frequency. So during the process, you just open or remember the pranic frequency. But after that, you have to do some practice at home, in your day-to-day life, to be maintained in that frequency. Because you go back to your day-to-day activities and your beta state of mind. And you naturally go back to your old habits. You can't hold that state without a practice. That's my experience so far. I will share the steps of the practice if you want. But before that, just let me tell you what I've gathered in this book, because I feel it's important to some of you. So we've talked about the detox methods, and I've detailed them here. The physical body detox, the mental body detox, the emotional body detox are just, all of them are described and developed in the book. Then we've talked about the science of pranic nourishment, the things that actually happen in the physical body that have been tested and discovered, that can help you understand how this is possible at the physical level. Because there are scientists that have measured the physical body, that have tested people in hospitals and noticed that they succeeded. And there are also scientists who were not looking for this answer of pranic nourishment, but have noticed with various tests that, for example, somebody did some research with calorimetry suits. Calorimetry suits are suits done by NASA for astronauts that are measuring, among others, the calorie intake of the body and the energy that the body consumes. So when they measured with these suits, they noticed on normal people, not pranic people, normal people having a normal life, they noticed that 8 to 25% of the energy that the body was consuming was not coming from physical food. So they measured the calories that they ate during the day. They measured the energy that they consumed with their activities, even sport activities. And they've seen a difference of 8 to 25% that was not coming from physical food on normal people. So those who did not do any spiritual practice, nothing at all. So my point is, if a normal person has 25% of his energy coming from an unaccounted source, that's how they called it, then imagine if you did some practice at home. If you did some meditation, if you did some yoga, if you did some qigong or other exercises, if you included some holistic activities in your day-to-day lifestyle, how much would that unaccounted source of energy increase in you? Because what we've measured with a method that is called the breath test, that I'm hoping to be able to share with you today, we've noticed that this percentage increases or changes day by day according to your daily activities. So by measuring, I noticed that someday I might be to a 100% or even more than 100% prana. And some days it might decrease if I had a stressor or if I had an issue. For example, when my brother had an accident or something like that, the prana would decrease out of emotional stress. And it's important for us to also measure that percentage, especially those of you who have quit food, to measure that percentage to know exactly if if it's the case to bring some physical nourishment when your pranic percentage decreases, so that you do not go into hunger or into being malnourished. Because many of the people who have tried without having the proper training and without having the proper information or the proper intuition have damaged their bodies and also died. And that's also a reality we have to touch on, because it's a reality. We have to be very aware and careful on this journey and be able to measure or be conscious if and when we need to take something, if it's necessary. But the core idea is that at least 25% of your energy for each one of you is coming from prana anyway, even without doing anything. And each one of you can increase it easily if you are willing to do that. Then another thing that science has discovered, and is also in this book, is that we have a strong connection between the levels of melatonin that we produce. Melatonin being a substance that is produced by the pineal gland. Pineal gland is one of the endocrine glands, is one of the most important ones, the ones that is governed by the third eye. So the melatonin produced by this gland is influencing the pranic intake. That is, the more melatonin, the more prana. Or in other words, the more melatonin, the less hunger. They've also researched and noticed that there are two hormones in our body that are governing our state of hunger. One of them is leptin, the other ghrelin, but I won't play smart here. It's just the names of the hormones. And these hormones are regulated by the production of melatonin and ATP. So the more melatonin, the less hunger. And where I'm going with this is, how can we have more melatonin, yes? That would be the question. Where the studies have shown that melatonin is actually increased by meditation. And other activities also. Dark room or darkness retreats increase the melatonin. So there are activities that can help your hormones self-regulate, that can lead to more pranic nourishment. And there is a science behind it. It's not just holistic stuff. That's where I'm going with this discourse. So those of you who want to study this, not only you find it in my book, but also on our website, soulhealingacademy.com. And there's a lot of articles there that help you understand mentally the pranic nourishment. Because some people have had the experience, know it's possible, but until the mental body understands it, they won't flip into that reality permanently. That's why we help with mental information so much. Also, they have discovered that pranic nourishment is encouraged, increased by sun gazing. The practice of looking at the sun at morning and evening, or sunrise and sunset, that help the pineal produce more energy. And actually, the pineal gland of the people doing a lot of sun gazing, like Hira Ratan Manek, one of the pranic people that I know, the pineal gland has been measured to be much bigger than the normal gland of normal people. So you see, sun gazing is a practice that has helped many with the pranic nourishment, apart from meditation. Another step that you can include besides meditation and sun gazing would be conscious breathing. They call people who are nourished by prana, they call them breatharians. And you might think that they are nourished by breath, right? The truth is that this is not accurate. We are not nourished by breath. We are nourished by the energy in our cells and the universal energy, but breath is helping us regulate our inner rhythms so that we keep ourselves in the theta delta state that is maintaining more pranic nourishment in our lives. So that is the right definition of a breatharian, the one who knows to work with the breath as so to maintain his physical and mental rhythms in the right state to be nourished by prana. That's a difference, right, in the concepts. You also find references of that and more explanations. And that leads me to brain waves. We have noticed that there's a direct connection between brain waves, the rhythm of your thoughts, and the way you are nourished by prana. So the more agitated you are, the less prana is nourishing you. The calmer you are, or the quieter your brain waves are, the more prana in the body and the energy field. So we have noticed that most of the pranic people are able and consciously maintaining themselves in the alpha theta state. As opposed to the people who are not so much nourished by prana, that maintain themselves in the beta state most of the time. You can find information about brainwaves on our website or internet. You can also find it in the book. The book is called The Pranic World Book, by the way. So another thing that is tested and measured and proven as true. And also they have noticed that in this planet there are also pranic bacteria. So the tiniest microorganisms are also able to be nourished by prana or light. So some other beings on this planet, some bacteria, are nourished in this way. So you see, there's so much science behind this reality, and it's not only holistic mumbo jumbo as some might think. Yeah, so you find the book here and also in the shop, and those of you who want to know more about this, you can tune into. There's actually a few of them here. One is about the dark room, one is about the Pranic World Book, and the other one is transitioning to lighter diets. And you can take them and pass it along to look at them if you want. Are there any questions so far? Because I'm talking and talking and talking. Hmm? Uh, my friends with the mic, if you want to pass it along. Thank you. Yes? Yes. The mic. Mic. Yes.
No. Okay. I heard about Amrita. Amrita. I would like if you can speak a little bit about Amrita. If it is a natural process or if it's a conscious process.
Practice.
Yes.
If it's a practice to get there, you're asking, yeah. With Amrita, which is divine nectar or divine energy or an energy that is nourishing us, I have to also describe it for those of you who do not know about it. Amrita is an energy that the yogis and Qigong masters have talked about for thousands of years, and is said to come through the pituitary gland into the pineal gland and then to the rooftop of the mouth. And then if you hold your tongue on the roof of your mouth, it will flow down towards your tongue and nourish you. That's the references we find about Amrita. And that's also my experience with it. About how to get to experience Amrita or divine nectar, there are various techniques, but it's also about spiritual practice. Some of us have experienced it as a result of the Kundalini awakening. That's my reality. Some of us have experienced it as a result of a certain practice called Kechari Mudra. Kechari Mudra is a yogic exercise where you turn your tongue towards the back of your mouth and focus your attention in your third eye and some other stuff that you have to do. And after some practice and breath work, you can start experience that reality of drinking the Amrita. I have experienced this also through, ecstatic awe. When I was, for example, in awe by witnessing an energy or a landscape, my being expanded and the energy started flowing in such a way that was producing this. There are others who have experienced it through yoga postures and breath work. And there are others who have experienced it through Qigong, which is a Chinese technique. So you see there's so many ways of getting there, but it's available for all. But it's triggered, it's actually the pranic energy. It's triggered by the purity of the energy channels. So two things, the purity of the energy channels and the practice. So that's what I know about that. Is there anything you would like to develop into with the question? Yeah. To a certain level, we're all nourished by Amrita. But I guess pranic people experience it to various degree of intensity. Some very intense, and some maybe are not really aware of it, but it's still flowing. So my answer would be yes, I think it is. But this is also this would also be a fixed concept, because some of them are nourished through this amrita flowing through the roof of the mouth. But as our colleague was sharing the other day, you can be also nourished by all the pores of your being, not necessarily through the rooftop. So there are various possibilities with that. So if you haven't experienced it, it does not mean that you cannot be nourished by prana. Yeah. But it is a thing to experience, because, as I said, this journey is not only about not eating. The experiencing the Amrita is the expression of a highest state of consciousness. So it's beyond not eating. Actually, not eating, I want to get to that and brief it out a little bit. Not eating is a siddhi, a spiritual power, just like any other. Okay? Just like telepathy, just like clairaudience, just like remote viewing, okay? It's a siddhi, it's a spiritual power. If you turn your journey into searching a certain siddhi or spiritual power, you lose the main, the main beauty of it. So it becomes an egoic search, it becomes a search of ego self-personality. And that will not get you too far. You might be experiencing pranic reality and you get self-satisfied, but it will not get you too far. You have to pay attention of your goal and always focus on the highest reality of all, and not just one of the spiritual powers. For me, I've experienced clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy and all that. But I've never, as I was sharing yesterday, exercised on increasing them. What I'm exercising in is increasing my divine nature in this body. That's why I shared that, yes, I can become invisible or dematerialize my body sometimes, but this happens without my conscious intention. It happens and it goes back to normal, and it's just my divine self guiding the activity. I never searched for this spiritual power or tried to increase it in any way. I'm not interested. All I'm interested in is manifesting the best version, like I said, in each moment. So, mind your intentions and goals. That's the point. Yes. Yes. Also, before the question, I want to tell you, so I wouldn't forget, that I am available for healing sessions here and for counseling. So if you want, we can talk after, because I usually forget to mention that. Okay.
Is fasting on long terms available for about everybody, or some people shouldn't do it?
I think this is a journey of self-mastery. And each one of us must check with himself if fasting is good or not good for him. And there are situations where fasting, if health problems or if certain energy aspects are present, then fasting could not be the best option. For the average person, I think fasting is beneficial, yes. If they don't have ailments, if they don't have a condition where the body is already weakened and in danger, then yes, fasting is good for everyone, and I highly recommend, at least as an exercise, 1 day of fasting each week, just to see what your body does. You won't die from it, and it's high purification. And you can extend the days as you feel it's comfortable or beneficial for you. I do not recommend fasting in the situations where where prana is very depleted and the energy of, for example, the bones and muscles is depleted. Then we do not recommend fasting. We recommend feeding. So pranic as we are, we have to be aware where we are with the pranic percentage. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? Yes?
Wait.
Just that comment there that you just mentioned about taking physical food when your body's kind of injured or damaged or whatever. But I had thought that taking physical food was an effort for your body to try and get rid of it. You know, that it was depleting your body rather than energizing it. So what you said seems to contradict it.
Then I will explain it better. I would not refer to physical injury. When you have a physical injury or even a flu, the body might naturally go into fasting to heal that situation, especially with inflammation and situations like that. What I meant, when the body is already depleted, when the body is already lacking, and lacking energy, for example, lacking a lot of vital energy, if the body has a lot of parasites, if the body has a lot of toxins, and you start having extended times of fasting without doing detox, then you might have problems. Or if the person has already a condition where, like I said, the body is physically depleted and not balanced, then extended fasting might lead to further unbalance. So we recommend in that situation that the body is stabilized, detoxed, and then they can go in extended times of fasting for healing a certain illness. But yes, in the situation of healing a wound or an inflammation or a flu even, the fasting is and might be useful.
And how is it manifested through the body when it is in harmony, when it's in good condition and when it's in bad? Like, I don't mean obviously if somebody has an obviously chronic condition that maybe they're being treated medically for, but if somebody wants to begin this process, what are the signs that they would know that the body is appropriate for starting this or inappropriate?
Where it's an individual journey of testing and noticing. You can, if you go to a doctor and ask him about it, will mostly tell you it's not the case, or But there are also clinics that can test you and put you into fasting to heal something, even chronic disease. There are clinics that are healing chronic, like diabetes, for example, with fasting, with extended fasting. There has been the fasting summit all over the internet where they describe the healing of chronic disease with fasting. And there are doctors and specialists who are describing that. So this is possible. Also, for a person who has no experience in this, it's just a journey, a personal journey of testing and seeing. If you have started fasting and extended it for a while and you feel depleted or you feel your energy is unbalanced, then you can either do some blood test and see what you need, or you can tune into yourself if you have any spiritual practice and see what you need to do to get back in balance. For example, in my case, when I am doing extended time without food, and I'm doing this frequently, actually most of the time, and at some point if I feel depleted in any way, I have to go back to myself and see what is the activity that I should be doing that would get me back in balance. And I test with the breath test that I'm going to share with you, hopefully. I test what is the activity. Sometimes it's just I need to lay on the ground, like the girl yesterday was sharing. Sometimes I just need to take a hot bath that would balance my energy substantially. Sometimes it's just that I need a hot tea. Sometimes it's that I need to go deeper and process an emotion that is depleting my physical body. Sometimes it's I have to do a certain meditation. Sometimes is I have to listen to certain music. So it's such a variety of things that can add or deplete to your energy field. And with pranic journey and even extended fasting, this is something to take on when you're starting to develop your intuition and be in contact with your body and with your energy bodies. Okay, so that you can develop that intuitive side of yourself that will tell you what you need to do. And also consult some other, experts in the field. We do not recommend ever doing this all by yourself, by the way. We do not recommend stopping the physical food without anyone to, guide you in any way. At least books but mostly a person as a guide. Because people have done immense damage to themselves without having the right information or misinterpreting the information even. When the mind is not clear, the information is easily being misinterpreted or misunderstood, and that leads to damage. That's why you need a guide, I believe. Until you get in contact with your inner guide, with your inner master that will guide you all along the way, it's good to ask outside for someone that you trust. We have, for example, the pranic consciousness process, which is an 8-step process that is offering the guidance of the activities to do in your day-to-day life to increase the pranic percentage. And that's very easy to do at home. And you learn how to balance, how to do this easy fine-tuning so that you have that intuition at hand wherever you need it. So you can find that online, the Pranic Consciousness Process. There's a Facebook page and there's a website page, and you have more information on it. But we're doing it as online training, and we're also doing it as live trainings, like live retreats. And it's a great journey to be in, not only for quitting food, but mostly for developing your intuition and your divine self communion. That's what we're about. Okay. All of it? Okay. Thank you. The Pranic Consciousness Process. Il processo di coscienza pranica. Okay. Please. I know it's going to be interesting. Say it out.
I can't do different. I want to know this. You mentioned before, first of all, thank you very much for your very clear, great rememberings and deepenings of this very important knowledge. I feel very much more reached right now.
Thank you
Thank you very
for
much.
your feedback.
Only I thought I have no question, but then it came up again. You said once, if a person knows about how it believes or it knows that the body can live without material food, and then you interestingly said, but it's very important for the person to know it in a deeper way or to understand it. I think you connected it with the book.
Yes.
So it seems to be important not only to believe, but also to be convinced, is my question.
Yes.
Doesn't need that to be enough to be convinced my body is nourished from
I will tell
love.
you the difference. I know your questions.
Yes.
I will tell you the difference.
Yes.
So
Thank
there
you.
are persons, there are various... Pranic nourishment is a form of yoga. You don't see yoga just the weird postures that some do. Yoga is divine communion, yug, union with. And there are different forms of yoga, the meditation, the physical practice yoga, the mantra yoga, the tantra yoga, and so on. The bhakti yoga, the yoga of adoration, or praying to something. And each type of yoga is best suited according to your type of being. So for some people, just feeling that this is possible is enough, and they instantly go, wow, yes, I want and I can be in that state. And that's coming from a deep ability of believing and having faith. And these are the people who are more heart-centered or heart-opened. But for certain people that have a strong mental field, that usually is keeping them from believing stuff, or a mental field that is helping them understand and process information to be able to offer it to others, for those it's necessary to mentally understand things to be able to integrate them in the body.
That the mind lets it go through and not
exactly.
one thing is disagreeing with it,
Exactly.
for example.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So that's why some of us need to also understand mentally and understand the science of it and to believe it also from the level of the mind. For example, see your bodies. The physical body knows and feels that is nourished. The emotional body might know and feel nourished. But if the mental body has some distrust, for example, from all the global programming that is saying that you cannot live without food, if your mental body has some distrust, then there's some in the energy, and it doesn't let the pranic frequency go through and nourish you completely. Okay? This has also happened to me. And then you have to also understand it mentally. So feed your body with the information of how this is possible so that it relaxes and let it go through.
Has been the technical explanation for the mind, has that been mentioned in maybe yesterday from Sophia or from you? Was that maybe enough technical information of getting nourished by many different things of air and nature? Or is there also for some really needed this inner physical, biochemical jump process also needed to be explained, for example? Of course, it depends individually.
It depends individually.
Can I add one more, very different, but also it's somehow connected with the belief and the knowing. I can imagine that there are different religions, for especially I think Christian religion, as I know some friends, they would immediately maybe
disagree?
say, not disagree,
okay.
but this very interesting point of, like you beautifully mentioned it with Amritananda Ananda Mai Ma, that she was not in a way herself anymore, or her ego or her identity was not there anymore, which is for others being enlightened and being guided from the Divine One within, or God. For others it could be an easy belief of there are so many entities and aliens who are not supportive, or in a different way supportive, like dark energies of possessions or something. I would love to have a clear explanation for those people who are maybe afraid of, and even if it's me, myself, afraid of being guided.
It's also about what you focus on. This is the answer. If you focus on that, you will be nourished by that.
By that.
Nourished means, connected with. But if you focus on divine energy, or the divine expression, divine self, and you focus all your attention, I could call it God. I'm not afraid to talk about God. I actually love God a lot, and I'm loved back by. So if you focus on God or divine energy or universal force or whatever you want to call it, and you keep your focus on that, and you keep your focus on that, then nothing else exists actually. There is nothing else.
I agree. So there you can assure or maybe hopefully explain also directly that if I pray to God, that nobody else is coming in.
If you
Just
set
God.
your intention to only connect with the divine beings and
Yeah.
divine energies that are nourishing you in the best beneficial way for you, then that's what you'll resonate with and nothing else. And you set your intention every day when you wake up, and every time you feel that you go out of balance, you just surround yourself in light and set your intention to only be contacted and resonating with the most high and beneficial energies for you, and be nourished by the highest and most beneficial source for you. And that's what will contact you from now on. That's the filter. And the end of all fears, actually. Okay. Okay. So I guess we're coming to the end, yes? Yes. For those of you who want more information, my name is Cristiana Eltrayan. I forgot to tell you. You can look for Soul Healing Academy, the website. You can look for Pranic Consciousness Process, Pranic Consciousness Summit, and so on. And you'll find the information on Facebook. And also the books are with me and in the shop. And we can talk some more later. I'm open for therapy. See you later.
Cristiano, thank you.
See you tomorrow and the day after tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for some practice, okay?